up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid hot.
Fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener. Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm, because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
Like what we do for our fans. There's no doubt about it.
Hey, what up, though, people? It's your boy Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your Pistons beat reporter here at Woodward Sports, and we're here for the Pistons' first practice for the playoffs, man, against the Knicks. Playoffs? Yes, we're talking about playoffs. You know what? Who wants to check out practice today? Let's rock.
And they had a lot to say. We got to speak to Isaiah Stewart, JB Bickerstaff, Cade Cunningham, and Trajan Langdon.
Focus, locked in, paying attention to details. So, that was pretty much the focus in the field in the bottom today.
Despite being a relatively young team, the Detroit Pistons are excited, and you know what? They're playing with more than house money.
For Woodward Sports, my name is Brandon Dent, and those Pistons are back to work in the postseason. Back to work. It feels like we just left, Flannel, man. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys for choosing to kick off your day with Wake Up Woodward, man. It's a lot going on right now in Detroit sports. April in the D is alive and well. It's your boy Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credentialed business reporter and writer for the network. Flannel Sam, our Red Wings correspondent. Hey, co-host of Woodward Wings, veteran of the squad, veteran of the network, all sports knower. And Riley Greene.
Well, and I'll say this, Kool-Aid, if you enjoy, the sweet tones of my voice, you're gonna really like yesterday carried into today, and you as well, Kool-Aid, because we're just here.
Just kind of floating
could have just slept here overnight, but yeah. Well, obviously, we're getting into the Pistons to start right off. We did a playoff preview show last night, which was very heavy Pistons tilted, of course. We had myself, we had Kool-Aid, we had Chris Platty, we had JB on the ones and twos, Travis getting some training on the ones and twos as well. We had Summer, we had Terry
Travis,
Foster.
Man.
So if you guys are looking, Cody Davis came in
Detroit
during
moves.
VMix and brought the absolute heat. So
My twin.
after you're done listening to us, this show, tune into the playoff preview show because we went all NBA, mostly Pistons.
It was dope. And you know what? There was some at least a shocking surprise or two on the show. It's amazing to hear Terry Foster's perspective on these Pistons because for a long time he said, I'm embarrassed of this squad. Yeah. But now that perspective has totally changed. And tell the people what's on the menu today before we jump into sights and sounds from Pistons practice.
Well, we got to talk about the Tigers. One man in particular in the segment after this one. I'm sure a lot of you guys are excited about that. But also, I think every time Brad Holmes speaks, great sound bites come out. There's a lot to talk about. And Brad Holmes had a press conference last night. And like every other show, we clipped up or were able to grab some clips of him, and we're going to talk about that. I feel kind of robbed because, of course, he was on a press conference at like 9 o'clock yesterday, so we're the only show that didn't get to cover it more in real time, but it just means that our Friday show gets to be more TLB. So we're certainly going to get into that, and also, before we leave today, we certainly are going to give our predictions for the first round of the Pistons-Knicks series and give a couple of keys. So it is a jam-packed show. That's the great thing about all of our teams being good.
Yeah,
except one.
This is
Just had to throw that
still
out
scoring,
there.
A little bit.
Still scoring about
Woodward
those Red
Wings.
What I'm talking about, say, you still scoring?
I'm not thinking about him right now.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
man, with all Malik Beasley on him, dog. You guys will hear that clip in a little bit too. But I'm loving that hat, by the way. Loving that hat in the booth. And I see you over there too, JBSmooovv. I got to call out your hat as well. So the people.
What are you talking about?
So the people.
This thing, nothing. I don't know what this is. I'm waiting for him to wear that other hat again. What are you talking
Which
about?
one?
You know, Kool-Aid. You didn't notice it till the end of the show.
But man, with all Malik Beasley on him, that's the great thing about all of our teams being good.
You know, Kool-Aid. You didn't notice it till the end of the show. You didn't notice it till the end of the show. You didn't notice it till the end of the show.
Bro, you gotta have to jog my memory because it's piece
JB
by
knows
piece
what I'm
it's on the
talking
way
about.
back.
I have no idea what y'all talking about.
We're gonna have
I have
to
no idea.
in the
Nope.
break, dog. In
Yeah.
the break, definitely. But Detroit Pistons sights and sounds. They take off for New York today. They have a quick media availability. We will get all the sights and sounds that we can. We'll ask some questions. But some of the stuff, just a little bit of housekeeping really quickly. Jaden Ivey. I don't know if you see the Jaden Ivey clips in there, JBSmooovv, in the Slack.
Let me double check.
Is making a lot of progress. From the first practice I went to, he was just kind of shooting stationary shots. And a lot of people said, no, man, that dude's a long way away. And then yesterday, he's actually running. He's defending. He's looking like a guy who has a reevaluation in about a week and looks like he wants to be able to play in at least one of these games if this series extends. But, you know, obviously more will be known after that reevaluation. But I just wanted to update the people because I know on socials, it's the total amount of clips is well over like 400,000 or 500,000 views and a lot of different comments, a lot of shares. So I'm sure there's something that you guys want to see as well. Here he is yesterday at practice, getting in a full little run, sprints, stops, starts, effectively like the basketball type things that you would do on the court. It's not everything full motion and full speed ahead, but it's getting him back into what they say reconditioning and court work. And there is another video of him as well out there actually going full throttle, layups at the rack against the defender, and then immediately turning around and going back and defending somebody else out on the perimeter. So I just wanted to say shout out to Jaden Ivey and shout out to Dennis Jenkins as well. This is just a little housekeeping. He is the Detroit Pistons two-way player, and he was named to the NBA G League All-Rookie team. So shout out to you. Congratulations to Dennis Jenkins. He was one of the coolest people I was able to talk to. Very down-to-earth at Summer League, and I just wanted to give him and the Motor City Crews and my guy Brody Hickle a shout-out. But with these Detroit Pistons, there's been a lot that they're talking about in terms of their confidence and such. And yesterday we got an opportunity to talk with JB Bickerstaff. We got to talk to Stu, got to talk to Malik and Tobias, and all of the vets are saying the same thing, that the goal the entire season was his expectation. But I got to ask JB Bickerstaff, how do you define or measure that success? A similar question that we had on our show yesterday. JBSmooovv, do you have that in the system there? It should be the 38-second clip that I sent this morning.
Yep, I got it for you. Give me 1 second.
Definitely, and then I guess we'll load that.
Said that the goal from the beginning of the season was playoffs. Now that you're here, how are you defining or measuring that? What that means to be here?
I mean, no matter what happens, this group had a great season. What they were able to accomplish and how they were able to grow, you know what I mean? It was a great step for the organization and for this team. That doesn't mean we're happy to be here, and we'll never take that approach. We're not just happy to be here. We're going to go out and compete our tails off and see how far we can go. Anytime you get an opportunity to compete, that's the mindset that you have to have is, you know, you're going out to get a job done, and that's where our guys are right now.
And we'll roll right into the 16-second one that I sent this morning as well, where he's talking about Isaiah Stewart. Just want people to be able to get, you know, bits and pieces of where this team's mentality and mindset is as well, because I have a couple more from JB Bickerstaff and one that I know is going to get people pretty fired up.
Okay.
And to piggyback on that, Isaiah Stewart, a career low minutes per game, but a career high in games played, assists, blocks, efficiency. But against the Knicks, he was pretty effective as a defender. Do you see his minutes going up in this playoff series?
We'll see. All right, thank y'all.
This one, I'm calling this one. We might need these T-shirts. He's confirmed it. And after that, I shouldn't have cut the video because all the media that was there, shout out to our guy John, he looked right at me and was like, that means that's a yes. That's a yes. Everybody was like, oh, so you know what, man? Unleash the beef. JB is about to unleash the beef in this series against Karl Anthony Towns. And it's one of the more pivotal matchups I think you're going to see in this playoff series.
Yeah, and that's Isaiah Stewart. This is kind of the perfect series for him to get unleashed even more than he was in the regular season. We know that on a per-minute basis, he was an absolute demon with his rim protection, rebounding, block shots, especially on a pound-for-pound basis. But could Isaiah Stewart really solidify his reputation as the cat stopper? he certainly made Karl Anthony Towns' life pretty miserable for the most part in the last regular season matchup, and I think that Isaiah Stewart has what it takes to at least bother Karl Anthony Towns. I still think Cat's going to put up pretty good numbers in this series, but it's like in the last game. He put up technically good numbers, but he turned the ball over 7 times and he didn't make a 3. And Stu, he's just that pain-in-the-ass pest that Karl Anthony Towns hopefully is seeing in his nightmares in between games in the series.
Definitely. And JB, I just tagged the next couple videos. It's one from JB Bickerstaff, JBSmooovv, I'm going to call him, man. You were the first one on the scene about him. And you talk about a culture change, culture setter. This guy has this team believing that they can go out there and win this, not just this first-round series, but the first game of the series. But, JB, do you have that? It should be about a 40-second clip, and we'll back in that with Kay Cunningham's comments as well.
I mean, it's been that way as long as I can remember. Again, I grew up watching the Bad Boys play. You think about the city of Detroit, the people from Detroit. Nothing's ever easy, right? It's all hard-earned, and it's a mindset of a workmanship mentality. And I think, again, we try our best to connect our guys to the fan base, and that's what our fans want to see. Is they want to see, a team that they can relate to, and that's what our guys are. Like what we do for our fans. There's no doubt about it. And so, when you want to reflect the image of this city, you want to earn the respect of this town, like you have to be that way. And I think our guys have bought in.
Yeah, super motivated. Haven't seen playoff basketball in Detroit, so since I've been here, obviously, but in a long time. So it's exciting. Ready to see how LCA rocks out. And I think it'll be fun. It'll be great to get some wins here.
Got into it a little bit. Do you feel like yeah, well, not really.
I'm not worried about Cat.
I know, but I mean, you guys were playful about it.
I don't worry about Cat. Yeah. No, even thinking about him.
But do you find teams testing you guys more and more as your reputation has grown as a good team?
I don't see them testing us. I think they are scared, and so what they're doing is putting a defensive mechanism up to not be able to mess with the Bad Boys.
Detected that from that incident or whatever that
I don't
was?
even know what incident you're talking about. That's how unsure I am about Cat.
Okay.
He's the least of my worries.
I
don't even know what you're
wanted
talking
to be
about.
able to bring a little bit of the sights and sounds from practice, man. And it's interesting to hear, JB Bickerstaff and how he talks about, look, we're not just happy to be here. We're ready to go out there and do some work. And he said it, man. Look, we've all of them have been through some ish. He was just cussing too. He was like, look, we've all of us, all the vets. And have you seen the young guys? We've all been through some stuff, but we've been able to overcome, and we believe that we can push each other to higher, and that's what we've done. And after you see it in the regular season, you believe it about yourself. And he said that they've played and put themselves in position to be playoff ready all season long. This was their goal from the beginning of the year, was to be in this position, and not just to be there and say, like Brad Holmes said, we're not in the business for cute seasons. What is JB Bickerstaff saying? We're not in the business for cute seasons. Any series we're in, even though we say we've taken a necessary step forward that we will say is success this year for our organization, we still want more. And that is the identity of Detroit, man. If it's on my plate or if it's what I'm supposed to have, I'm after it. And I love the fact that they wanted to be able to see. You heard Kay Cunningham talk about, I can't wait to see how LCA turns up. These guys have been to Lions games. They have been to Tigers games. Before Kay Cunningham was even a Detroit Piston, he was up at Comerica Park with Ashton, the trainer. Shout out to Ashton. And all Detroit was chanting, we want Kay. And he was already there like, dog. And you could see the enthusiasm he had already for Detroit. It's like to see these guys in this position right now and to see how excited they are about it, about what we're going to do to turn up, because you already know what we do. I'm ecstatic. But freaking Malik Beasley.
Yeah.
This clip went everywhere. Everybody's picking up this clip right now. It's well over like 3, 4, 5 million views. Flannel, what is your takeaway on him just absolutely giving them more than bulletin board material? He called them scared. He said he is not worried about Cat at all. I don't know who has a bigger beef or less of a worry. Chase with the Red Wings or Malik Beasley with Cat?
It's all right. So I have multiple thoughts on that, and I'll try to keep it brief. Malik Beasley has put a bit of a target on his back. And if I'm being completely transparent, his playoff career has been relatively underwhelming as opposed to his regular season career. I do think this is the best Malik Beasley has ever played, and I think that there's a very good chance that he shows out in the playoffs. Now Malik Beasley has no choice, because if he doesn't and the Pistons lose, he will get clowned into oblivion, and if, God forbid, that happens, I will just have to sit back and be like,
Because we like Beasley a lot.
I do, and I really do. But I think it's a good juxtaposition between I love what JB Bickerstaff said. I love what Cade said. They took the more humble, appreciative, but confident approach. Malik Beasley was not humble, not even a little bit. And hopefully this is a creation of a legendary moment where he talks the talk and backs it up. But we shall see. The caveat to all of this, though, when it comes to his underwhelming playoff career and all of that, is this is a different Malik Beasley than we've ever seen before. This is the perfect team around him. He's playing the perfect role. So he probably feels more confident in his abilities and his abilities to impact a game than he ever has before. So he's got some merit as to why he's being a little bit chesty.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad that you said what you did at the end of that, because he is a different player, but we do know this, mojo and bad mojo in sports is a real thing, and this is a line he's going to have to cross, especially as the vet. The other players, they do look at him. This is where with Cade Cunningham in particular as a young player, and Isaiah Stewart, this sounds crazy to say, but the longest tenured Detroit Piston, I'm glad that from a maturity standpoint, those guys, they just play consistently no matter what the situation has been, but obviously these lights are brighter. Cade said, I don't know what to expect. It was different to see how cool, calm, and collected the young players were throughout that press conference. But when you got to that question, you could see him go, I play ball, so I'm going to play ball anywhere, but I really don't know what to expect. But you know that these vets, they do know what to expect. And that's why I do hope that from a Malik Beasley, that the past is something that they're able to overcome. Just like JB Bickerstaff said, he said we all got past. And a lot of it is checkered, you know, as it relates to their basketball playing career.
Yeah.
But he said we have overcome, and that is going to be effectively the mantra of this team. All these teams have to overcome adversity. They have to do it gritty, and they're having to, you know, face those demons effectively.
That's the crazy thing is when you look at this Pistons roster, I don't want to belabor this point too much, but it could end up fueling them that there are, even though this is a young team that was built primarily through the Troy Weaver draft picks, believe it or not, when you look at the veterans and even the head coach, there's a lot of playoff experience, but there's also a lot of playoff disappointment. We all know Tobias Harris's playoff career has been hit and miss. He is hated in Philadelphia, for example. We know that Malik Beasley's playoff career has been underwhelming. We know that Tim Hardaway Jr. was kind of sporadically in the rotation, sometimes yes, sometimes not, in the Mavericks run to the finals last year. And we know that JB Bickerstaff, even though those Cavalier teams were really, really good and he didn't deserve to be fired, he was looked at as somebody who can't take the Cavaliers over the top. So the Pistons are motivated. They've got some allegations as individuals to answer for, and I really think that they have a good chance to, because they are the El Capitano, and the maestro and the leader of it all is one Mr. Cade Cunningham.
And you know what? It's amazing because Terry Foster and I, we were having a conversation about would we recognize when the aspects of bad boy Pistons or going to work Pistons are being built again in front of our eyes. He does believe that this is one of those situations going on right now. And that's where you want to see this team go out there and acquit themselves well in the playoffs. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about it at the end of the show if there's some time.
There'll be time. we'll cut out other things. The game is Saturday. I know we're going to do some pregame and watch party, but we're definitely going to give at least our predictions and our keys.
Man.
Yeah, even
eyes are on them
if we have to run a little bit into a mailbag or something. I'm sure that you guys will be
fine.
Be
we'll
okay
work
with
it out.
And NBA.com, they put out their top 4 NBA panel for all NBA teams.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham finished second on 3 of them, third on 1 of them.
Second or bust. Second or above or bust. I don't think that there's any argument that he should be third. The argument is first or second, and I even said as much, that if he gets second, I'm not going to throw a fit about it, because I think Anthony Edwards deserved first as well. There's a bit of a logjam, but at the end of the day, got to be second or higher.
Yep.
Second or higher, or we riot.
I'm seeing a couple where people are saying he has made a great case for first, but it's going to be interesting to see. But I know we're going to talk a lot more about it. I'm only going to say his name. I'm going to leave the honors of even saying the stats simply to you, Mr. Riley Flannel Sam.
Flannel Greene.
Flannel Greene. But those Detroit Tigers, they get another win over AL Central opponent, 6-1. We're going to get into it in this next segment, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait. We got a little video that we're going to start off the next segment with as well, so stay tapped in.
We got a couple videos, actually.
Yeah.
Got lots of videos.
Somebody got excited over a certain event.
Just a little
in
bit.
the Tigers game last night.
Absolutely. But Chase, tell us about Mad Packs, please.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
you get to say it today.
KG here to talk to you about Mad Packs. Mad Packs is the hottest new cannabis brand, and they're partnered with Woodward Sports, and you know what that means. I'm going to be feeling good for opening day and all Tigers season. Mad Packs is going to be taking your game to the next level. High-low, getting you high for the low, delivering the top-tier quality at unbeatable prices. Boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka is a live resin-infused tarantula. This one's the bomb. Blizzard packs, THCA, moon rocks that hit like a blizzard, coming to select retailers in May 2025. Stay tuned with Woodward Sports Network for all the latest updates.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month. How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month?
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Do yourself a favor, scan the QR code on screen, use code word Woodward1000. You can deposit up to $8,000, but all you have to do is place a minimum of a $20 bet, and if it doesn't hit, they will throw it right back into your account with no questions asked. It's Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Do yourself a favor and make some money tonight.
Make some money.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, Tor! 2 runs, baby, 2 runs! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! For my boy Flannel, let's go! For my boy! He ain't giving up no hand today! Let's go, Riley! Let's go!
Hold on, what happened? Flannel, what happened, dog?
Riley Greene RBI single.
He finally got it. Talk to me.
Riley Greene with an RBI single clutch. Runners in scoring position. Look at that piece of hitting right there. Let's go. Come on.
Go!
Let's go, baby.
Dog.
All Riley needed was a little home cooking. He's back at Comerica, and he's out of the slump. Let's go.
Let's go.
Who's happier, Riley Greene or Flannel?
Me. Dog, I didn't hear that at first. Shout out to those victories. 6-1 Detroit Tigers over the Kansas City Royals. AL Central opponent, man. It always feels better when it goes down like that. And Riley Greene, like I said, I'm going to let you tell the stats, Flannel Sam. Your godson got off last night. And as you guys can see, Flannel Sam was pumped up. We were supposed to go on air, and we were just sitting there like, all right, let's go. Is this going to happen? I came in here for 1 second, and then I heard you flipping out, man. What up, though? I'm hyped.
To all of the idiots that were advocating for Riley Greene to be sent to the minors, that was for you. I shouldn't be having to do this right now. I shouldn't be having to victory lap and dunk all over you people nuts in the face, but I am because of you guys. Not all of you in the chat, obviously. Most of you have been good and patient, but because of a very loud, probably minority, both on social media, both in this chat, that were saying that Riley Greene should be sent down to the minors because of a slump in April, because of a bad in the totality 2-week start to the season. That was always ridiculous. We all knew that he was too good and he was going to get out of it. And
talk about it.
You saw it last night. I mean, 3 for 5, 3 hits. Oh my God, that made me so happy to think about. Two RBI singles, big hits with runners in scoring position. And oh, by the way, Riley Greene's also got some wheels. I know everyone talks about how he runs funny, but he didn't look very funny beating out that infield single as well. But I digress. But last night, and when it comes to Riley Greene, is the perfect example of how one good game really makes things look entirely different. Because last night, just off of 1 3-for-5 performance, in which none of the hits were extra base hits, by the way, his average climbed by 27 points, his on-base percentage climbed by 24, and his OPS by 38. When you look at his numbers in totality, it's not somebody who's having this horrifically bad start and he should be absolutely sent to the minors. It looks more like somebody who is going through a tough stretch, a slow start to the season, isn't walking as much as you like, but has decent power. That's the totality of Riley Greene's season right now. And I just hope that every single one of you who said that he should be sent to the minors, you have 2 options. You can either apologize and cheer, or you can kindly, if you're not going to repent, I don't want to hear your cheers. I don't want to hear anything. You can kindly leave.
Man Flannel lost no limbs, so he's going to use them, huh?
Absolutely.
But look at this. You see this right here? You see that number? I knew you were going to cook. What's that number right there, Flannel?
27.
27. I knew you were going to cook that up, and it was amazing to see. Looking at the box score just the other day and seeing that 206, and then seeing the way that mug jumped off of last night, and you're exactly right. It's so, what it represents is that it's so early in the season. That's the whole point. If you can't be patient while it's early in the season, where 3 hits can shift your batting average by 27 points, then it clearly shows that there's an overreaction by a lot of those people out there that believed maybe you should get the torque or the metal treatment, despite the fact that Riley Greene has proven to be a threat in this lineup at any given moment. That's the point. He's proven this already. Can you imagine other All-Stars in this city being treated like that?
Well,
it's wild to me. I wonder what treatment. I wonder what K will get.
Well, that's what I'm kind of talking about, because I want to respond to a couple things in the chat. This is Matthew Kruger. This is ridiculous. It's way too early in the season to victory lap on anybody. First of all, Matthew, if you weren't advocating for Riley Greene to go to the minors and you were more calm, this doesn't apply to you. And for the record, if you wanted to criticize his slump, I'm not mad at you. I'm just upset with the people.
You criticize his slump.
I'm just upset with the people that were ever advocating minors. And my victory lap isn't over the totality of the season. Riley Greene is still off to a slow start and needs to keep it up. My victory lap is over the people that on April 17th April 17th wanted to send Riley Greene to the minors. That's what my victory lap is. And I see this from Thomas as well. You've been really on a roll lately, a bad roll. Sam, he still has 3 times the amount of strikeouts as Javi. That's terrible, and you're trying to downplay it. But last year when Javi was striking out every at-bat, you were up there talking shit to him.
What has Javi ever done for us?
That's the false equivalencies with that, the cognitive dissonance. It's something that I don't even want to share a country with people who think like that. Let me break this down really, really quick for you. First off, I was not ever downplaying Riley Greene's slump. I was here talking about how it hurt the team in 3 games and how he needed to get out of it. I never excused it. My whole thing was that slumps in April are a tale as old as time. It's you guys, not all of you, but some, who were treating it like Riley Greene is the only person in the MLB who's going through a slump and the only person in the MLB who's not going through a slump. And oh, by the way, Javi's last season when he was striking out every single at-bat, let me peruse the OPS that he had last year. Let me just look that up really quick because I'm pretty sure it started with a 5. And Riley Greene had an 827 OPS last year and was an all-star and on a playoff team. When you look at the when you look at the team leaders in stats last year, when it's home runs, RBIs, on-base percentage, OPS, it's just green. There is a level of cachet that Riley Greene has in this town, a level of equity that Riley Greene has in this town that Javier Baez does not have.
That he should have.
Absolutely. And, oh, by the way, Javi Baez, last season, OPS 516 for the whole fucking season. Thomas, shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Crash out.
832.
Stupid motherfucker! God damn! Have some perspective in your life. Think. You're like the fucking scarecrow. You actually don't have a brain. But if you do, think. Think for 2 seconds. Jesus Christ. It's these people.
832, everybody. 832.
We got a Wizard of Oz reference. But what up, though, man? Riley Greene, Detroit Tigers. How overblown is this? We see one game here absolutely catapult, or at least take this batting average up 27 points, and it makes this thing look a whole lot different. Obviously, the strikeouts, it's not what you want to see, but it's so early in the season, bro. But where is the middle line here, voice of reason?
That just caught me off guard with that. I was like, what? I don't know if it's too early to the victory lap right now. It's promising that we've seen Riley Greene honestly do this last night, and you're happy for him to get out of this slump. Honestly, you were hoping for this for the longest time whatsoever, and now you see it happen, and now it's just like, can we just relax and just be happy that they got the win? Riley's out of the slump, and now we can just focus on these guys just getting back to normal, getting back to playing fucking baseball.
Well, and let me be very clear. And I want, and JB, I'm not saying that you like don't understand, but my point is that I am victory lapping the people who wanted him sent down on April 17th.
Oh no, I would never send him down.
I'm not saying
no.
Riley Greene's numbers over the totality of the season are not good. Riley Greene has struggled. Riley Greene's slump, I think, probably cost them a win or two just from him slumping. And I get that. It's just that baseball is 162 games. Riley Greene should have the type of cachet to where he can go through a slump and people still support him. I have always said, and this still applies, by the way, because Riley Greene is not out of it, if it's May and his OPS starts with a 5, if it's June and his OPS starts with a 6, then I will be very concerned. Then I will be right there with a lot of people who are having real questions about him. That is not right now. And my point is, like I said, from one game in which he didn't even have an extra base hit, average up by 27 points. I'm repeating myself. On base percentage up by 24, OPS by 38. It's so early. Imagine if he follows that up last night with, let's just say today, he goes 1 of 3 with a double and a walk. That will make his numbers skyrocket. And it's a very reasonable target to aim for. He could very well do better than that. It's early. He was never going to go to the minors, and That's always been my point. If you're one of those people who were critical of the slump but never said minors, what I just said does not apply to you.
And it's interesting here. I understand maybe criticizing and having less hope for your role players, for your rotation guys and such, but I don't know, man. We in Detroit, I don't ever remember us being this critical of our stars in the past. And I don't know if it's just getting older, but it just seems like there's so much more of this skewed perspective with our stars in Detroit and our young players. I don't really remember this for a town that traditionally clings on and holds on to everything and anything that says the right things. Like, we work hard, we grit, we this, we that. We eat meat, no sides. You know what I mean? It's like, and they go out there and they show that. And, bro, Junkyard Dog Jerome Williams is always going to have a special place in those Pistons fans' hearts. Like, how did we get to this place now that players like Riley Greene, players like Cade Cunningham, players like Jared Goff, who was just top 5 at MVP voting, how are these guys still, polarizing to the Detroit fan base of all places, where we don't get many of these people that percolate and show up on a national scene like these guys do? It's the weirdest thing. Like, why not rally behind these guys?
Well,
in unison.
There's, and for the record, I think most people do. I think in cases like this, social media and even the chat is just kind of
amplified.
It's a toxic world to have to wade through. I will just say that. And Burns says something in the chat. I think the real question we need to ask is, what is wrong with Cleveland's bats? Ramirez 0 for 4, Quan only 1 hit. Is it time to send them down? Obviously, no. And I know that you're kind of being funny. However, and this is another thing where perspective. Remember when I told you yesterday that despite Riley Greene's horrific slump, 1 for 31, I think his OPS at the time yesterday was in the 630s. Terrible. He still had a higher OPS than 10 former All-Stars are this season. With last night's performance, he passed up Anthony Santander, Christian Yelich, Jarren Duran, Trey Turner, and JT Real Muto, while still being above every single guy that I mentioned yesterday. Sounds like a guy that should be sent to the minors.
ADIS411 asks, someone check Sam's blood pressure.
We might need to.
It's good. You know what? I think I've done enough damage. How about we take a break and then talk about the rest of the Tigers? Because it was far from just the Riley Greene show, and I hope that moving forward, we don't have to do this again. We can just talk about the Tigers in totality.
Yeah, I liked what Reese Olson showed out there on the mound.
There
with
is
a little bit that we could see, and obviously the performance that he put up allowed this Tigers team to go out there and get a dub. And that's what I expect out of all of these, most of the starters that they're going to run out there. So they're going to have opportunity to win all these series, get back on track, win this Royals series, and continue to maintain pace in this AL Central. Let's say what I've done to some friends.
Absolutely. We got Feldman Chevrolet of Novi, Detroit's #1 Chevrolet dealer and the Chevrolet Dealer of the Year for 6 consecutive years. You've got Deals of the Month. You can get a 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew for just $199 a month. You can also get a 2025 Chevy Equinox for only $249 a month. Come see George Hawes and his team at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi.
And prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
I think you won. This guy's got a hot girl.
bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
It's Planet Fitness, fitness that fits your budget. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. At Planet Fitness, you experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, friendly, knowledgeable staff, and a totally judgment-free atmosphere. Did you know that all Planet Fitness memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? Want all the perks? Upgrade to the PF Black Card and enjoy use of amenities such as unlimited use of the Black Card Spa featuring hydro massage, massage chairs, and total body enhancement, and more, along with access to over 2,500 locations worldwide and unlimited guest privileges. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness or planetfitness.com.
Hey, dope harmony, JBSmooovv. What up, people? Welcome back to this Wake Up Woodward. Let's run up them likes. We're still talking about this victory Detroit Tigers show right now, this segment. They do defeat the Kansas City Royals 6-1, and a really, really good start by Reese. Also moves to 2-1 on the season, his record. And pitched 5 good innings, 4 hits, gave up 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts in his demeanor. He just continues to look cool, calm, and collected out there on the mound, fam.
With Reese Olson getting going and having his best start of the year, this is the best starting staff in baseball. This is a World Series level starting staff, and I think a World Series level bullpen. And you saw it last night. And the reason why I bring it up after Reese Olson's start is that I don't think Reese Olson's stuff gets enough credit because his changeup last night, it was, for lack of a better term, changing up. It had all kinds of movement. He had 5 strikeouts, and all 5 of his put-away pitches were on changeups. And when you look at this staff in totality, you've got Casey Mize with the splitter. You've got Tarek Skubal, who's the nastiest pitcher in baseball. You've got Reese Olson, who's got a wicked changeup. You've got Jack Flaherty, who's got great stuff. And you've got Jackson Jobe, who was at one time the 3rd overall pick. Man, Reese Olson was really the last one this year that needed to get going, and he gave you 5 shutout innings. You couldn't have asked for more. And even though, obviously, I had to do my whole Riley Greene thing, Reese Olson was the story of last night because if that changeup is working, you've got 5 pitchers on this staff that are capable of throwing 6, 7, no earned in their sleep. Just is what it is. Love to see it.
Definitely love to see it. And it was dope to see KG be able to get out to that game and really locked in on what Riley Greene was having to do, what was able to do in that game. But you're right. When you just kind of look across even the contributions from other people, it's like, I keep finding myself asking this question: is Spencer Torkelson here to stay?
Yes.
Is this something that we lock in? We say, you know what? He's that guy. He's finally figured it out because you need his production right now. When you talk about what this pitching staff can be as it relates to World Series level, Spencer Torkelson and a Riley Greene figuring it out, and this Tigers team getting healthy across this lineup, well, then that lineup is looking pretty daunting as when you combine that with a pitching staff that can go out there more times than not and hold a team to 1 or 2 runs. That to me was what was just kind of like with that Brewers series, but I didn't really like one of the games what they rolled out there for pitching wise anyway, and it seemed like they were just kind of rolling things over and getting prepared for this next run, especially with the Padres series. where I do believe that they're going to acquit themselves well. I do believe Riley Greene is going to get off to make this a trend, not just, okay, he got some hits and now back to a slump. I believe this is going to be a trend. And when you have players like Spencer Torkelson and others who have helped to pick this thing up, Dylan Dingler, bang, man. This is where these Tigers can be more than just treading water and continue to actually lead this AL Central division. I'm
glad you mentioned Torque because I want to combine a couple of players. One of the other stories of the game was Torque and Kerry Carpenter. They both had, Carpenter, they had a combined Jesus, now that I'm thinking about it, Greene, Torque, and Carpenter combined for 8 hits. That's sexy, but we already talked about Greene, obviously. Spencer Torkelson, he had 2 big hits, 3 RBIs, the 2 RBI double in the bottom of the third to get the scoring going. And with Kerry Carpenter, the role that he played last night was the table setter. He was the guy who got on base, and guys like Torque and Greene were the ones that were there to get the RBIs. You love to see it. Kerry Carpenter scored 3 of the runs. Torque, Greene, Carpenter. Obviously, you're not going to get 8 hits combined from them for maybe hardly any times the rest of the year, but you don't really need that. You need them all to just be productive. And last night, you see what the offense looks like when they've all got it cooking. It's absolutely beautiful, and they didn't even need a home run. It was just keep the line moving. And sometimes that's just how it's got to be. And sometimes I actually like that even better.
Because you know how we do with these teams. We go through after some time and we start to reset certain expectations, and that's why I asked, this is the Torque we're expecting. Then you know what, JB? Print up the Torque merch, man. Get it going. And then also with the Tigers, you mentioned their offense. Torque. Last night, I found myself saying this. Oh, wow, they look back to themselves now, which isn't something we would have said last year about their offense going out there and getting 12 hits and 6 runs in a season where they've been putting up largely about just over 8 hits a game and over 4 runs a game. Is this who they are now? You look at even KG's guy. He's been preaching Gleyber Torres. He even went out there and got a couple hits, moving his average up to 323 in the season. This is an offense we can believe in, Flannels Sam?
I mean, yeah, I think so. Because I think Riley Greene's going to be a lot better as the year goes on. I don't think Torque is going to be an 1,000 OPS guy, but could he be 850 or higher? I think so. Kerry Carpenter, he's showing more that he can hit against lefties as well, which you love to see. All Kerry Carpenter does is hit. If you look at the totality of his career, the only thing that's really slowed him down is the fact that he often has to sit against lefties and, of course, injuries. If those things are a thing of the past, knock on wood, this can be a really effective offense. And with Gleyber Torres, I'm glad you mentioned him. I don't think Scott Harris gets enough credit for bringing him here on a really cheap deal. We needed somebody who can hit lefties. We needed a right-handed professional hitter, and Gleyber Torres has been that. I know that he went down and he's missed about half the season due to injury, but when he's played, he's been as consistent of a bat as there is in the lineup. And oh, by the way, speaking of, because we just mentioned offense, speaking of Scott Harris, another big story from last night's game, the Yankee acquisitions. Torres got a couple of hits, and Tommy Kahnle with 2 scoreless. Yes, with 2 scoreless innings of no hits, no walks allowed, 14 pitches to close down the club. This Tigers team, man, when they're clicking, they are a team that absolutely can win this division. And with the pitching staff, sky's the limit. I don't know if they could necessarily beat one of the like the Dodgers or the Padres or someone like that, or the Phillies in the World Series, but
I was gonna.
I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but watching Reese Olson show out again really did things to me, and watching Riley Greene break out of the slump, how could you not be a little overzealous right now?
Yeah, I know, and I know that Rod Beard tells us, "Hey guys, wait till the 40-game mark before we start locking it in." But you're looking at these trends that are really starting to become the norm. And that's where you start to think, what is the true ceiling for this team? And right now, I do believe that the true ceiling for this team, and it's not outlandish to say, but it is go out there and win this AL Central Division. You've given yourself to start the season 1.5 game lead, and that's not necessarily cushion at all. But you also know that you cost yourself in some of these games. You're probably a little bit better when you get healthy than you are right now. And they have a good opportunity to control their destiny and really lead from the front in this AL Central, give themselves a good chance going into the playoffs to host a playoff series.
Well, and I don't want to do this because it's the small minority, but Gromit0237, somebody who has been very late to the party when it comes to the Tigers. I don't think he's ever even stepped foot in the party. Torque knew he's on his way out, so for him to step up a bit is good, but he's still not impressive. Bro, just stop. Like, I'm not going to give it too much oxygen, but through 19 games, and I get it, 19 games is a small sample size in Major League Baseball, but through 19 games, he has an OPS of over 1,000.
And you're not even a Torque bro.
I'm not a Torque bro. Well, I'm becoming a Torque bro. Wheezy, if you want to let me into the club, let me know. But I did apologize. I did make amends, and I'm super happy to see Spencer Torkelson being this way. But to say that he's not impressive is just asinine. I don't. 1,000 OPS is an 1,000 OPS, and if they were giving away MVPs after 19 games, he'd be on ballots. Aaron Judge would obviously win it going away, but Spencer Torkelson has been one of the best power-hitting first basemen in the league. Actually, I can't think of one who's been better. Maybe I'll do some quick research on the fly, but when you have an 1,000 OPS, you have a claim to that title. You just do.
You definitely do. And you know what? Before we move on and TLB a little bit, when you look at this AL Central division, it is very, very interesting. Do you guys know how many teams in the AL Central right now are over 500?
I actually don't.
Does anybody else? You guys want to take a guess?
The Guardians are 8-7, aren't they?
Nope.
Is it just
3?
one?
One.
Oh, wow.
Our Detroit Tigers at 11-8. The Cleveland Guardians, they dropped to 9-9. They were above 500 when I checked it the other day, but the Tigers are the only one, and that's why I said when you look at this, the reason why I say that they're 1.5 game lead, I do believe that that's stout. I do believe they have an opportunity to control this. They're waiting for. We were saying, man, wait till we get some of our other bats back, right? But guess what? Who's leading the division right now in runs scored? The Detroit Tigers with 87. They are almost 20 up ahead of the Guardians, man. That's wild to me. And runs allowed. They are leading that. They have the lowest runs allowed in the division, and they're the only positive run differential in the division at plus 19. The next closest is the Guardians at negative 11. The Tigers are doing work, and we're still sitting here saying we're waiting for some of our dogs to get back. That's why when you look at Riley Greene, you don't get excited, because I saw a comment that said, well, you guys are getting excited now. It's from Big Wolf status. Y'all are so geeked that Greene had one good game after a slump, so what's going to happen when he goes back? No. We're so excited because of where this thing could go from here. Yeah. Riley Greene's been slumping, and the Tigers have still been doing all of what I just told you. So if you get a Riley Greene, and this is why if you're a Tigers fan, it's like you want this guy to figure it out. I don't understand the notion of any aspect of being against an all-star level player who can take this team already leading in so many different facets in this division to in my opinion, when you mix in the pitching staff, Riley Greene on point with what the production we're getting right now, you get those injuries back. I'm sorry, they're the class of the Central to me.
Well, and that's where you can look at it as Riley Greene broke out of his slump just in time, because there were a couple of games where the Tigers offense looked DOA, and Riley Greene was a big part of it. We need him moving forward, and we're going to get him. And I will say this one more time. The reason I was so wild and out early on is because of the people who wanted to send Riley Greene to the minors on April 17th. That is, 18 games into the season at that point? And oh, by the way, he was really, really good to start the year. He just went through a terrible slump to make his numbers, unfortunately, where they're at now. But one good game, and they have jumped. They have jumped tremendously to where he's one more good game, and I think a couple more walks away from respectability. That's April baseball for you, man. It just is.
That is April baseball. And you know what? It's so crazy because April in the D is in full effect. Even though the Lions aren't playing right now, they're still dominating the news headlines, especially with the NFL draft on the way. And guess what? They don't even have a top 10, top 5 pick. They're picking 28th, and Brad Holmes said some things that got some social media start up a little bit. Lions fans everywhere. I know we're going to get into that in the next segment. Let's say what up, though, to some friends.
Oh, absolutely. I got to tell them about some merch over here. Do yourself a favor. Head over to woodwardsports.com. All you got to do is click on that shop tab. We are dropping new designs for you every single week. I think I'm going to have to start working on that twerk merch pretty soon. But
beef.
Unleash the beef. Oh, I like that one too. But we got the Woodward Tigers gear as well too that you should be supporting while you're down at Comerica Park. Hell, do it today, as a matter of fact. And you can't forget about the Red Wings, the LFG Red Wings t-shirts and hoodies available for you right now. Head over to woodwardsports.com. All you got to do is click on that shop tab.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
All right, sports fans, whether you're hitting the game or simply chilling at home, Jars Cannabis has you covered. Jars is home to Michigan's largest line of recreational cannabis products, 27 locations across this state, 9 alone in Metro Detroit, so there's always one close nearby you. But don't fear, because if you live in Grand Rapids, Madison Heights, or Milan, Michigan, stores are popping up your way very, very soon. If you don't have time to check them out in store, look at all their deals that they have right now on jarscannabis.com. 420 is right around the corner, so you know they've got deals for you. But you know what? I know you want to get high, so head over to Jars.
It's 50% off.
Hey.
Shout out Chase.
How would Chase know something like that?
I don't know.
Chase. How would you know that?
They put money in my pocket.
Oh, man. Welcome back to this Wake Up Woodward Chat family. I'm hoping the day has started off great for you all. We're getting into hour number 2 of the show, and we're talking some Lions, man. And shout out to KG as well. Detroit's #1 draft pick, Matthew Broder, that dude Justin. Miss you guys. Miss you on the show right now, KG. And definitely hold it down. Cannot wait to have you back. I know we're going to be on that watch party tomorrow night for the Detroit Pistons playoff game versus the New York Knicks. Hope that you guys tap in. But like we talked about, April in the D is percolating right now. You got the Pistons going into the playoffs and playing meaningful games in the regular season. It's been hype getting into their playoffs practice. You see the Tigers right now, what they're doing elite in the Central. Red Wings, oh, goodness gracious, Red Wings.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, but in the Lions now. And Brad Holmes got things going a little bit yesterday with this conversation on what to look forward to in this draft.
Absolutely. JB, can you play the BPA versus needs cut for us, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe a guy is.
I love need.
Let's say
you guys know me.
Is clearly a guy you evaluated very, very highly, but there's an overlap with a guy in your roster where it's tough to see how you get both of them on the field. Like, how do you handle that as an evaluator when that guy's the best player, but maybe can't help you in a meaningful way?
Yeah, and we've had those discussions. I think the interesting thing, Justin, is that, and this is where I. Not get annoyed, but this is why I sometimes don't understand the whole need thing, because when each season ends, it's going to be something else. Like, another player's contract's going to end. Another player, unfortunately, might be coming off an injury. And, like, it's going to be something different every single offseason. So if you're trying to chase what happened last season of, oh man, this guy's contract's and if you're trying to chase, this guy got an injury, like, you're just kind of getting into a cycle that I think is a little bit dangerous to get into. So that's why I've been more of a, just get the best player, because even look, we loved Rakestraw, and unfortunately he just wasn't as healthy, but so he wasn't able to help as much last year. But we're real excited and looking forward to what he's going to be able to bring this year. So there is just, and I said before, there's just a level of patience that you just have to play. But when you start chasing need, it's well, that need might make sense for right now at this time, but what we make these picks for future investments. And I know we live in a society that everything is right now, boom, right now. And I understand it too, just from, when a player gets drafted and so much, fascination is made about the draft, and, people are excited about it. People want to see it right now. And, they don't want to wait and be patient, but there's just patience. I mean, it's no different than when we made that massive jump to get Jameson Williams. He was coming off his injury. We knew maybe he could play a little bit late in the season, but weren't planning on it. So yeah, I just got to play the patient. But I'm just, I think you can get trouble chasing needs sometimes, and then you're dependent on a rookie that you do the best you can, but nobody has a crystal ball. So it could be a tough world to live in.
Man, Brad Holmes, you're going to say, he's one of those guys that just stays true to form, period. That's just it. And when you hear him talk, I'm actually comfortable with what he's doing, because I do believe he has this recipe to help the Lions be able to stay within contention right now, but also be able to provide the flexibility you need down the road, whether it's cap space, whether it's controllability of a young asset, or whether it's a young asset developing later. Remember, when I heard him talking about this, the first name that popped into my head was Jameson Williams. And at the time, a lot of people said, why are they going with the wide receiver? And then he didn't play right away. And then last year we realized Jameson Williams is somewhat of a need then. And they didn't have to necessarily utilize or use a capital during that opportunity at a wide receiver number 2 type role. Instead, that draft pick that they got several years back developed into that role. And when I do hear him talking about that type of stuff, I hope that when you hear him mention names like Ennis Rakestraw, that all of the assessment that went into Ennis Rakestraw by Brad Holmes, that we see a similar type of a jump, a little bit faster. But I'm hoping that we do see that type of jump, because some of these guys do pan out. Not all of the draft picks are going to be hits. But I do appreciate when you look at some of the example, like a Jameson Williams, I do appreciate the approach. I do believe it helps his Lions team be able to keep that window open just a little bit longer.
Your mind goes to JMO, and that makes sense. My mind actually goes straight to the 2023 draft. Brad Holmes said some things in this soundbite that were actually very profound to me. I really locked in and listened in a way that I always listen, but this one, when I heard a couple of keywords, I'm like, okay, let me really dissect this. I listened to this multiple times. I think the biggest takeaway from this segment is that you don't really know what you need all of the time. There are a lot of variables in the NFL. People get signed, people get cut, people get traded, people get hurt. You just never know. And the 2023 draft, I think, is the biggest encapsulation of it all. Going into the draft, every single person, even at this network pretty much, and even the pundits were all like, defense, defense, defense. Jalen Carter, Jalen Carter, Jalen Carter. And Jalen Carter, he's a damn good player, and that's who I wanted the Lions to pick. But we didn't really know the need that Jahmyr Gibbs was until it materialized, because at the time of the draft, at the day of the draft, Jamal Williams had signed elsewhere. The Lions had signed David Montgomery, and they still had DeAndre Swift for what they thought was one more year. So you thought maybe you could run it back this next season with DeAndre Swift and David Montgomery. But what happened on draft night, we all know. The Lions traded back for Jahmyr Gibbs, and they traded DeAndre Swift to the Eagles. So when it all shook out, you had Gibbs, a promising rookie, and David Montgomery, somebody who really isn't a bell cow. He's damn good, but as that bruising complementary back, that's how he can be best. So Jahmyr Gibbs actually was more of a need than any of us even knew, and now he's a superstar. Kind of same with Jack Campbell, because the previous season we saw that Anzo took a leap, Malcolm Rodriguez had a heck of a rookie year, and Derek Barnes showed some improvements. And also, there was once a time where Jack Campbell was not thought of as a first-round caliber talent. It was thought of that you could get a lot of value in later rounds. There were a lot of linebackers that went in the third round, like Diane Henley, Trenton Simpson, DeMarion Overshone, Drew Sanders. Jack Campbell was often lumped in with those guys. I know it's hard to remember now, but that was the thought. You didn't need a linebacker in the first round, but obviously the Lions never really saw Malcolm Rodriguez as a long-term starter. And we saw this season when Jack Campbell was the only linebacker to stay healthy. So sometimes needs present themselves through injuries as well, as I mentioned before. And the same thing with Sam Laporta. Because Sam Laporta, this is one thing where I kick myself in retrospect. Tight end was obviously a need at the time. I know that Lions fans, I'm going to do this again. Brock Wright, Shane Zylstra, James Mitchell, most touchdowns by a tight end in Lions history. That was never the answer. Everybody knows that. And there was a lot of context to that because 3 of those touchdowns came from TJ Hawkinson when he was there. And 3 of those touchdowns were Shane Zylstra, a 7-yarder, a 3-yarder, and a 1-yarder in the Carolina game. Obviously, you needed a tight end. I was more of a Michael Mayer guy. I'm kicking myself in retrospect also. But you needed a weapon like Sam Laporta more than you even thought you did. And, of course, with Brian Branch, it was the perfect combination of just need and best player available. How the hell is he still available at a 48, and that need was necessitated even more because of the C.J. Gardner-Johnson injury. So the 2023 draft, I think, was the lesson to all of us that needs often present themselves in mysterious ways.
Definitely. You're cooking up there, man, because you're exactly right. The Brad Holmes way has continued to prove itself right. So if anybody talks about aspects of misses, that's where, with the names you rattled off, and you can go back to even some of the earlier draft picks, that's where I'm just like, you know what, let's rock. Especially when you pick an Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th
Well, that's
round.
the thing. Dead serious, in the 2021 draft, you could not have picked a better player at that position than Amon-Ra St. Brown. You could literally look at it. I think there were 2 Pro Bowlers drafted after him, and they were Talanoa Hufanga and Trey Smith. Amon-Ra St. Brown was the best possible player you could have picked at that position. And you can also argue that Kirby Joseph was the best possible player that you could have picked at the 97th overall pick in 2022, because the only real competitions after that are Brock Purdy, which is a little bit different, Kyron Williams, already got Gibbs earlier, and Deron Bland. And since Kirby Joseph has been drafted, he has the most interceptions of any player in the league with 17. Next closest 14, by the way, and a first-team All-Pro. So, but those were the drafts more where you just needed to accumulate talent. Yeah. 2023 was where you had to be a little bit more nuanceical, and Brad Holmes was more nuanceical than we ever even really knew. Before we go to other clips, because there's more, I want to get Chase in on this. What are your thoughts when hearing what Brad Holmes had to say in his press conference, at least that soundbite?
I mean, it sounds like he's just going to continue to just, make the best decision, of like what's available, which is all you can ask for, at least what all I can ask for. It's like, because like he said, at the end of the day, like, we're going to be in the same position again next year, and we're going to have new free agents, new pending guys who are like pending extensions, and it's going to be decisions to be made on like who stays, who goes, and who's going to be part of the long-term future of the roster. And so I'm all for like BPA. I think he's, like he says, like, you draft for need, you're putting yourself in a position where you're forcing your hand in some ways, and you're relying on rookies. So I'm looking forward to next Thursday and just seeing whatever he decides to do over the course of the weekend to add some talent to this team.
Yeah, I appreciate those comments. And I see Ed O'Neill here, though, kind of on a little bit of different side of this. He says, so is what I'm hearing, we should be okay if we refuse to address the edge once again. And I don't know. Like, for me personally, it's this hard battle between what I believe is a need and the fact that Brad Holmes has only increased every single year. This Lions team, the win totals, the expectations, it only goes up. So that's where the conundrum for me is just like, well, it really looks like we need edge help. It really looks like we need pass rush help, especially when we talk about what we saw in the playoffs and especially in that Super Bowl. But I remember sitting here in that chair that Flannels in on that side of the desk, filling in on the heavies for one of the legendary heavyweights, Spinny, hosting with Easy. KG was just getting started with sounds over in that booth. And I remember sitting here and we were talking about the fact that at the trade deadline, they got to go out there and get a pass rusher. And they wound up there and got maybe Bruce Irvin for a game, that legendary Uncle Bruce Irvin game where supposedly him and Flannel had some backdoor deal. That was a
Don't injure Derek Carr. You might not win that game. But we belabor the point. Go on.
On. We belabor, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I thought, and we all clamored for it, and then guess what? They went out there and they busted through a lot of our expectations. People said if they make no real move at this deadline, they'll win one game max. And instead, they found themselves in a position in which they probably should have punched their ticket to the Super Bowl. And so that's where it's like, Ed, man, you one of the real ones. You one of the OGs. Word to Ed O'Neill in the chat. But I don't know. I feel like address Edge. Y'all know how we feel.
But that's another one, though, that also has a complicated legacy because, in my opinion, a lot of people will disagree with me on this, is that the Detroit Lions didn't make that big move, and they won 2 playoff games. And I know a lot of people thought that they wouldn't even be able to do that without help at edge. But the other side of the coin is, whether you like him or not, Chase Young did impact the 49ers. And maybe they don't get as far as they do without him. I suspect they probably do, but that was a good move by them. And relative to the Lions' expectations, there really wasn't anything wrong with not adding. But I want to also say something to what Ed O'Neill had to say, because I actually don't mind it at all, because I am still someone, probably one of the few people left on this island, that says that the Lions should have never released Zadarius Smith. He should still be here right now. I want him here. I want him to be signed back. I think they do need to add more. And this is where I'm going to be a level of fair that some people in the chat are really going to appreciate. The edge rushing position seems like the biggest need, and I think it is a huge need, by the way. I don't think what I'm about to present is going to happen, but I have to present this side. What if Marcus Davenport gives you, let's just say, at least 12 healthy games, and his pressure rate is at 11.4%, which is what it has been over the past 3 years, albeit in a small sample size. If Marcus Davenport gives you that and is available for the playoffs, plus Josh Paschal, which I'm not counting on, by the way, is like, it's my contract year. I want a future in this league. I want a future with the Lions. He surprises everybody and has like a 6 or 7 sack season. And of course, Aiden comes back healthy and does what he does. Then even a position like edge, and it seems unfathomable at this point to most, isn't as big of a need as we think that it is now. There are just so many variables. And I actually thought Brad Holmes, and I'm not a Brad bot by any means, but I thought that the way that he framed a lot of that in that clip was brilliant, actually, and very well said.
Yeah, I see Denver Brady said Brad already talked about Big Z. Yep, and we know we speculated yesterday as well in a couple segments on this show that we do believe that there has to be a number out there. If you already talked, Brad Holmes already knows what he can and can't do. And it probably just allows either Big Z a couple things. If there's a better deal out there that can set him up better as an older player, Brad Holmes is going to be happy for him, even if he would love to be able to retain his services. But, two, sometimes with these older players, you see them usually, or sometimes, especially if they're the dogs, sometimes they sign late in the summer. That's what they do. You'll see them skip a couple training camp sessions and all this type of stuff, and then you see them sign up late in that session. So I wouldn't, I want him here. I'm all for that sentiment of Big Z. I think we've all beat that drum like in unison on this show, as well as a lot of people out there. But that's why I'm so conflicted, because how do we balance what looks like a need for us with the fact that this team just went 15-2 with what, 22, 23 injured players, and how many went on the IR? Like, how do we balance that? That's the component, because I feel where Ed's at,
yeah,
but then how do we show? If I show it to Brad, he's just gonna be like scoreboard, and it's just like.
Yeah,
okay.
but there's always something that you can do when you don't win it all. And I understand that injuries played a big factor in it. It's just, I'm never going to, and trust me, I gave Brad Holmes so many flowers for what he said and was really trying to understand the psychology of him. I will not be a blind follower of someone like a GM or even a coach until they cash one in. And I understand that Brad Holmes wasn't necessarily the reason why the Lions didn't win the Super Bowl last year. Far from it. It's just the philosophy of it all. You need to take that next step in order to be a true made man. We can't be looking at this in terms of Lions history. We have to be looking at this as a team that if they don't cash one in the Holmes and Campbell era, that it's a massive failure. And I think they will, by the way, but there's always something that you could do to tweak things just a little bit. But Brad Holmes, amongst all that, has built himself into being, I think, at worst, the fourth best GM in the NFL, and at best, like top 3.
This is. I can't wait to hear the other comments as well and get into that conversation. Lady Jane's, I see them over there right now, getting prepped and getting things set up. And at Lady Jane's, we do take the charge of getting a haircut. Our talented stylist will deliver an industry-leading haircut, a relaxing scalp massage. My favorite, that hot lather neck shave. It feels like I can hear KG right now, man.
Nasty.
And and a hot towel treatment. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for men. It's wicked awesome.
Towel placement varies.
Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday on Beat the Energy, every Thursday on Ermanni and Edwards, where he's offering top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that D-Mac trusts. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944. Hey, what up, though, people? We are back. It is Wake Up Woodward. And we got another cut from one Mr. Brad Holmes.
We got a couple. So play them back to back, JB. 2 for the price of 1. And by the way, these are from, the first one was from our social media, so I didn't feel like I needed to shout them out, although they should. These next 2 are from Lions Nation Unite and the Lions X account, just the Lions X account, respectively. So go ahead and play them things, JB, please.
Players you think might be there that you'd like, and now you're getting close to being on the clock and they're still there. Is trading down an attractive thing because we're going to get one of the guys we were hoping to get and we can pick up additional assets?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the compensation is right and it's reasonable and it makes sense, and like I said before, if we have the pool of players, that we have kind of relatively in the same bucket, then yeah, absolutely, that could be an option. But it's just, you said you're always trying to figure out what we're gonna do. I don't when a movie comes out, right? I don't understand. When you go to see a movie, you don't know what you've never seen the movie. That's the excitement. So you're fine just watching the movie. And then it's whether the movie's good or bad, and then you can do that. But I don't understand why people can't just watch the draft. And it's like, all right, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but watch the draft and get your popcorn ready and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
You know, when I hear those comments, I just hear a guy that's just prepared for any situation and any scenario, which I believe is what's made Brad Holmes largely a successful GM in these drafts. He does his homework, he does his preparation, and if there's a trade back, it's not just because there's nobody there. I think that's where, when you look at his overall philosophy, he's not going to just trade back just because the player of the need, the position of need isn't there. He'll go out there and say, but this guy that I see right here, I know can add to our overall team, even if it's not necessarily filling a need. And so I'm glad, like, especially on a week away from the draft, to hear, again, this GM is not one that's going to fall off. He continues to validate and foundationally prop up the fact that he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's one of those guys that is playing chess and not checkers in this draft.
I am so curious as to who Brad Holmes has a first-round grade on, or who maybe he doesn't have one on, who maybe he suspects he could get at better value in the second round, along with getting compensated for it if he were decided to trade back. It's interesting because there's many different things that he could do. Obviously, he could trade up if he really feels like there's that game breaker right there, like maybe a Mike Green, if you listen to Flannel Sam. But if there's somebody like that, would he be willing to trade up? If he thinks somebody will fall that shouldn't fall, there's always 28. But I'll just give an example. Somebody that has been just plummeting down draft boards lately is a guy that we know very well, Kenneth Grant. And I'm not saying that Kenneth Grant is a Brad Holmes guy or going to be the pick, but he's an example of a guy who there were times where you thought you might have to be in the top 15 to go after him. And he's got that kind of talent, which is tantalizing. But for whatever reason, he falls down, and you would actually be in a more advantageous position to get compensated to move back and take someone who you believe is a top 15 talent at, say, pick 40. That's really the best way to go about it. That's what every GM dreams about. That's really what Brad Holmes was able to have happen with somebody like Brian Branch.
And when we do, these mock drafts, when you kind of look at the professionals and the experts and all of the analysts who are doing their mock drafts, the one thing we keep coming away with is this. If he's going to take a position of need, this is a draft that is pretty deep at that position of need. It depends on, like you said, who does he have the first round grade on, or who do you believe is going to be able to, back up adeptly guys like Davenport, who we hope can play a lot more games than a few. But if not, you're going to have some guys within your rotation. I know they brought back some more defensive line help, but I want some high upside players that we don't necessarily have to go year after year after year figuring out, hey, are we going to sign this guy back for a year or not? Because they might not have necessarily reached the level of proficiency that we need for right now. Because that's the other aspect of it. You could draft a player, and they might not necessarily pan out. And that's where, I hear what Brad is saying. I really do. And I ask you again, with this perspective of hearing what he's saying, how likely is it that you believe he goes and gets that pass rush help in this draft early on? But I do know he's going to have the opportunity to pick throughout this draft, even if he trades back.
I think no later than round 2. And just to add credence to the whole depth of the draft, and I want to be clear, I think that this is just my opinion, I think that there's going to be one pass rusher available at 28 if Brad decides to stay there, that if I were Flannel Holmes, I would go pick. I think that's going to happen. We'll see if Brad picks him. We'll see if that even happens. But to really further the point of the depth of the draft versus the high end, and I kind of I'm curious to see what Chase has to say, because you picked him on your mock draft 1.0. Is Jared Ivey that much worse of a prospect than, say, Nick Scorton? You see what I'm kind of getting at there?
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. That's kind of why I decided to go with, like someone else I thought, like, value-wise in that position with Derek Harmon, in the first round, just because the availability of similar players with, I think, similar upside, too. Like, I really like Jared Ivey's size, his ability in the run game, and then his athleticism. And although he doesn't project to be like that number one bookend, you don't need him to be when we have the number 2 overall pick and Aiden Hutchinson, potential defensive player of the year, on the other side of him. So
well, and this is where, and the reason why I brought those guys up for those of you who maybe aren't as tapped into the draft prospects as we have to be, but like to be as well. Jared Ivey is projected as a late second-round pick, somebody that might be available for the Lions at 60. And Shamar Stewart, and I didn't even mention Shamar Stewart, but I'll go Nick Scorton because I don't think Shamar Stewart will be available at 28. I'll just say Nick Scorton. Nick Scorton is somebody who will probably go between 25 and maybe 35. I think that's an appropriate range. And they're both big body, just defensive ends. They're not 3-4 linebackers. They're not speed rushers or anything like that. They are defensive ends, hand in the dirt type of guys. And when you look at a lot of the production metrics, Jared Ivey actually had Nick Scorton beat in run defense grade. Their pass rush win rate was similar. Jared Ivey had more sacks. The perception is that Nick Scorton has higher upside, but that Jared Ivey might actually be a great value pick at 60 and maybe a pick that we're looking at in a couple of years as, wow, you might have actually got yourself a bookend for the future at tremendous value.
Man, Brad Holmes, one way or another, I know this. We're going to come away. It's going to be polarizing for some people. That I do expect. When you hear him say, get your popcorn ready, you hear everything that he's prepared for. I wouldn't be surprised even if there's one of those Flannels saying picks, and it just doesn't fit his need for right now. And I wonder how heartbroken I would be.
Well, I mean, I won't be happy because I've got my own wants and needs, but I'm not Brad Holmes.
Well, hey, maybe he decides to do something similar to last year too, where he moves up a little bit, drafts an edge, and then when he comes to the second round.
Hey,
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
by
JB,
the way.
is that what you're thinking?
I would love that.
I'm okay with that. Go ahead, JB.
He threw his hands up just like this.
That's what I'm talking about right now. To go along with Brad's videos as well too, he can really give a fuck about your needs. Like, he doesn't care. He is going best player available. If that means jumping back up into the second round, picking twice once again, that is what he's going to do. To his comments about the movies and enjoy it with your popcorn. This man is like Doctor Strange right now. He's working with the time stone. He's already seen into the future. He knows what he's going to do, and he is prepared for anything that could change or anyone who wants to jump up and make any kind of wild decision in the draft. He's prepared for it, and he's ready to make whatever decision necessary to make this team a success.
Well, and one thing that I will push back on, not with you, JB, because I thought that was a very well said. I don't think Brad Holmes likes sports media very much because by what he said there, I don't think he understands the job. We have to talk about the draft. We have to speculate. And I know that Brad Holmes might get irritated. I know he probably thinks we're a bunch of like rubes and plebes and whatnot, but that's just the reality of the job. That means that I have my wants. And I'll tell you what, there have been numerous times where what I wanted would have been dead wrong, and what Holmes wanted ended up being right. See, I wanted Michael Mayer. He wanted Sam Laporta. Michael Mayer is already got his replacement drafted, and he's probably going to be out of the league soon. So, but we all have our opinions, and we all have speculations. And draft coverage, that's a big part of what we do now, especially in the March and April months. Fortunately, though, we got more to talk about with the Pistons and Tigers as well. But Brad Holmes, I know that you're better at this than we are, but unfortunately, we're going to have to keep. We can't just sit back and not talk
because
about
these are the minor needs that we're talking
Yeah.
about. And I know to the Lions' success, we look at them as major needs, but this is the, I wanted that color sweater versus that color sweater, because ultimately the biggest need is the fact that when I go into, Ford Field and I got to walk that beautiful field with our sales guy, really just our everything guy, Brady. Yeah. Let me not even.
Does more than sales.
Does a whole lot
Probably more than he should, but that's another story for another day.
JBSmooovv was out there, Kid Kool-Aid was out there, and we looked up and we saw a beautiful banner. That's my ultimate need. Putting those banners up there, changing the narrative of this organization, and even if he's doing it in ways that don't make sense to me, don't seem very logical or whatnot, the 15-2, even despite the injuries, like you overcame all that adversity, these are the things, back-to-back division titles. You swept the freaking NFC North, and I know we're still waiting on that Super Bowl, but these are the needs. And right now, every single year we're seeing that he's being able to meet those bigger needs, in my opinion, like the house and the car, rather than just the color of the sweater. And it, to me though, I feel like sometimes I'm like, but pass rush feels like security. It feels like a house. It feels like a paycheck. Isn't that what you're supposed to go out there and just get? But clearly he has something in his mind that is just a little bit and sometimes a lot different than what we perspective.
Like I said, you never know what you need until it presents itself. And I'm somebody who, again, I don't have to repeat it, but I want them to go edge in the first round. I do. I 100% do. That's what I would do. But it may, a Pascal breakout season and Davenport being healthy, that's also a possibility as well. I'm not holding my breath, but stranger things have certainly happened. But speaking of stranger things, you know what's a strange thing? A team winning 3 times the amount of games they did the previous year. Actually, more than that. And we're going to talk about Pistons when we come back because they've got a series opener on Saturday at Madison Square Garden. Game 1. We will be here for a pregame and a watch party and a postgame. But before that, we got to go around the room and get all of our predictions and keys as well. But first,
we got buddies. Say quickly as well, if you can, clear up a couple of those super chats, and then we'll get to buddies and get right into the next section.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Shout out to everyone sitting in super chat. Sorry, the conversation just got heated and wild with everything that's going on, but shout out to everyone sending in super chats. $5 from Burn. He said Brad will trade above the Packers. I don't know where, but he will jump the Packers and punk them in Green Bay like he does every single year. Shout out to Burn for that one as well too. $1.99 from Ed O'Neill. He said only one goal: get Hutch help. Happy Friday, everybody.
I agree. I want another. I still wish they had Big Z, but I'll get over it.
That guy up north says safety in round 1. Don't be surprised. Oh my God.
Malachi Starks, bring him home. Welcome to Detroit. You are a Lion.
Oh man.
He might be available though. He might actually be the BPA at 28, but it's not gonna happen.
BPA and Brad, we trust.
I mean, he's saying BPA. And Brad, we trust. The voice of reason said it best. Buddy's Pizza has been serving the original Detroit-style pizza since 1946. This is something also that you can trust in. 79 years later, they have 22 locations in this great state of pure Michigan, and fans can still visit where it all began on the corner of 6 Mile and Conant. Sign up for Buddy's Rewards to earn points on every purchase and receive exclusive promotions. You gotta have to go ahead and download that Buddy's Pizza mobile app and start earning those points today. And add some Detroit style to your next meal and save 10% off your entire order using promo code 10MEAL. That is the number 10MEAL. Buddy'sPizza.com.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
You have a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
Hey, what up, though, people? We are back. It is Wake Up Woodward. We're talking about them playoff Pistons, man. Not postseason as it relates to the play-in. They've already gotten things figured out, and we got to put this stuff on wax for at least the Wake Up Woodward family as well when you're talking about your keys to victory in those and your series predictions. So, you know what, Flannel Sam? I'm going to go to you first, man, to kick it off with yours, and I do have some 3 keys to victory for the Detroit Pistons.
You know, then I'll give 3 keys as well. First key, this is simple. Cade is better than Brunson. That's it. That's all. He's got to outplay him. I think that he will. But to get deeper into it, I think my second key is for the Pistons to execute in the half court. We know that possessions get less, the game slows down a bit. I know that the Pistons have a great transition, defense leads to offense, but you're going to need to execute in the half court, whether it's players moving off the ball, whether it's pick and rolls, whether it's Cade just creating for himself, whether it's giving it to Tobias on the low block and he goes to work. Executing in the half court is going to be critical, and it's something that I think young, newer playoff teams, there might even be an inter-series learning curve. We shall see, but they do have Cade Cunningham, who is a demon in the half court. And my third key is limit Karl-Anthony Towns as much as you can. Preferably have him turn back into last year's Western Conference Finals Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm not saying that you're going to be able to hold him to an average of 12 points and 9 rebounds or something like that, but limit the efficiency, limit his three-point shooting, turn him over if you can, and just bother him. As I said at the beginning, I want Karl-Anthony Towns, when he closes eyes to go to sleep, have Isaiah Stewart there in his dreams just going like, boo. You've seen it. Isaiah Stewart is just an energy guy. He just is a madman when it comes to, I know who I have to stop. I'm going to key in on him. And we all know Isaiah Stewart, even if he's not always on Cat, is a damn good rim protector as well. So I guess to summarize, Cade is better than Brunson, half-court offense, defense on Cat. Those are my 3 keys.
I love what you said there, and there's going to be definitely obviously some overlap there because it plays into a lot of the Pistons' strengths. And you start there with Cade Cunningham. And that's where I'm going to say this. It's kind of a hybrid. It's pound the paint. The Detroit Pistons, and we said this on our preview show, they outscored their opponent in the paint in 30 straight freaking games.
People don't talk about that enough. That's insane.
It's
I understand that it's a different game than it used to be, but 30, that's almost half a season.
That's what I'm saying. It's insane, and it put them in historic air. Nobody in this era of basketball has done that. There's 5 other teams, and you got to go back into some 19s to be able to find those other top 4 teams with that stat, and it's absolutely crazy when you think about it. And they are second in the NBA with 57.6 points per game since January 25th, averaging a margin of 11.7 points. That's plus 11.7 points over their opponents. And this is where it gets very interesting. Who's leading that charge? Cade motherfucking Cunningham, bro. Cade is ranked 5th in the NBA with 14.2 points per game during that stretch where they outscored their opponent 30 straight games in the paint. 49% of their points came from there as well. And Cade overall leads Detroit in points in the paint this season with 12.7 points per game, second most among guards, only behind Shai Gilgeous, and good for 10th in the NBA. When you talk about who Cade Cunningham has been as a player against the New York Knicks, largely 33 points per game, almost 10 assists and 6 rebounds in Madison Square, and they got to play a couple games to kick off this series there. And overall, about 31 points, almost 8.5 assists and 5 rebounds. Cade's going to be able to have his way, especially when you got players who are wondering and probably questioning, are we up for this challenge? They haven't been yet, and the word is, they're trying to do everything they can to make sure that just Cade doesn't beat them, and I just don't believe that you're going to be able to do that. This is where my key number 2 is play your game and don't force the issue. Cade will get blitzed and get blitzed a lot, but he's used to that. This has been something since his rookie season where they started to realize, oh, you're going to have to hedge. You're going to have people looking because his usage rate is high and his effect on the game overall is just that much higher. But when you talk about the Pistons, you hear people talk about their fast pace and their transition. And that they do. They're second in the league in transition points. They are first in the league in points off turnovers. And it's a big part of their offense, going defense to offense. J.B. Bickerstaff said it is their best offense. But there's a lot of people who I think sometimes they overblow a little bit of, can they perform in the half-court offense? Let's check this out. The Pistons run a pick-and-roll play for the ball handler on 19.5 possessions per game. That's ninth most in the NBA. They run a pick-and-roll play for the roll man on 5.4 possessions per game. That's 25th in the NBA. And they run a play with the shooter coming off a screen of 5.1 possessions per game, which is sixth most in the NBA. Most team screen assists per game. Do you know who leads that?
Is it the Pistons?
It's the Detroit Pistons at 24.7 points per game. The teams behind them, Cleveland Cavaliers at 23.8, so they're a whole point up per game. That's hard to do over the course of a season, man.
Best team in the East.
Golden State Warriors, Sacramento Kings, and ironically, the Charlotte Hornets. And the screen assists per game, 10.4 per game for those Detroit Pistons. And that's why I say, just play your game. What that shows is that if K gets blitzed, this team they've proven to be able to pick him up, hit the open shots, get to the rim, get to the rack and such. And then that third key for me, it's communication and awareness defensively, especially in the pick and rolls. You can't lose the shooters, as the Knicks are a top 5 team in the NBA at field goal percentage and free throw percentage. So if you lose them on defense, guess what? They're knocking down the free throws. And we've seen the Pistons be broken this season in some games because they couldn't perform in the clutch making their own free throws, let alone putting other people on the line to hit some free throws. And so those are my at least 3 of my keys. Obviously, there's a whole lot more we can run down, but when I kind of zeroed in, it was really be yourselves, Detroit Pistons. You've proven in the regular season 3-1. Cade Cunningham has proven he has just the secret sauce. Shout out to Dr. Pierce to be able to battle against those New York Knicks and come away very favorably, because we can expand this to his 6 games in Madison Square. It's amazing run that he's had. It's been one of his, when they show those stats like Kobe against all the different teams, the New York Knicks is a favorite of Cade's, man. So just be yourself, do the pick and roll, get into your defensive identity, don't be satisfied, and be that team that if you get punched in the mouth, if this thing just so happens to go off the rails a little bit, continue to be that same team that started off 0-4 and said, this is not who we are. Bounce back, and that's what I expect from this team.
Well said. I think all of our keys are pretty much in alignment with each other. We almost just kind of set them differently, and I love to see that. But before we move on to what's trending, how about we go around the room and give our final predictions for the series? And you know what? Let's start with me and then end with you, Kool-Aid. Let's do a little.
Hey, let's rock. Let's rock.
Yes. I got the Pistons in 6. I think Cade Cunningham is going to have his real national coming out party. I think that he finishes with an efficient. I'm not going to call for a point total, but I'm calling for 60% true shooting and also at least 9 assists per game. I think that's how he's going to be more important. I think he's better than Jalen Brunson. I think he's an absolute matchup nightmare because of his size, his ability to get into the paint, and the Knicks don't really have. Well, Mitchell Robinson could give them trouble, but he doesn't play very many minutes. I think that's going to be a key, and I think there's going to be a couple of games where I'm calling for, even though I like him as a player more than most, I'm calling for a couple of games where Karl Anthony Towns maybe goes 5 of 15 from the floor, 1 of 6 from behind the arc, and maybe 8 rebounds. You know, how often he does in the playoffs, and I think Isaiah Stewart will have a lot to do with that. And another person who I expect to have a huge series, and he certainly needs to after talking like he did, Malik Beasley is basically going to play his game, be the 6th man of the year that he was in the regular season in the playoffs, give you about 16 to 18 per game on 40+% from behind the arc. So that will carry the Pistons, all of those things, to beating the New York Knicks in 6 games. JB.
I really wanted to go Pistons in 6 with this one, but I think I'm going to take it a step further. Give me Pistons in 5.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to do Pistons in 5 just for the simple fact that, they are stepping into a playoffs, the unknown boundary for some of these players as well, too. So there's going to be a little bit of nerves in one of these games. It might be game 1, or, hell, it might be, your home opener here or your home game, playoff game. hear that, you're just, uneasy about some things, therefore. But still, I'll give me Pistons in 5. Cade, this is all on you. As Kool-Aid, as you said before, you don't have to change anything that you're doing. Just be you out there. Continue being you. If you see an open lane or an open shot, take it. There is no need for you to second guess anything out there. I know you want to be, a role player and get all your teammates involved, but sometimes you don't have to do that as well too. Control tempo and transition. Pistons, you play at a very fast pace, and that's what the Knicks thrives on as well too, those transition plays. So just control that and be aggressive in the paint. Just assert yourself. Cat is going to be down there, and Beef Stew, you are going to be a key contributor into just harassing this man all game long. So just continue on that path, and honestly, you guys can knock the Knicks off, move on, get some rest, get ready for Boston.
In 5 games, man.
5, man. Jeez, what up, though, Kavasi? He look like he's serious in that booth right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with JB. I was at the skate park last week. I hit a little 50-50 grind, front side and back side.
This is braided up Cavassier energy right now.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I hit it front side and back side, so I'm going to call it like JB, Pistons in 5.
My man said front side and back side.
I hope you guys are right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope I'm right too. It doesn't matter the games, but Kool-Aid.
Yes, sir. Look, I'm gonna say Pistons in 7. I know that this team is going to have to find their footing. I do believe that they have a great opportunity to win one in New York to start this series off. But I do believe and I do respect those players on the other side and Coach Thibodeau, who has had the Pistons number for a long time. But this is no longer those teams of the past. I believe it's going to be a good series, a competitive series. When you look at all the stats, this team is these two teams are very evenly matched up. Very, very evenly matched up. The Pistons do have the advantage, though, as it relates to toughness, physicality, play in the paint, defense at the rim, and ultimately I believe that that's what's going to give this team the edge. Who they are in the paint where grit matters and who their star is, being the best player in this series. The one thing that they're going to have to do, and it's a mandate, we gave this mandate to Michigan basketball. You cannot take out the big musket and shoot yourself in the foot. Ryan's reaction, Kool-Aid, over under on Pistons game 1 turnovers. Cade and his team are going to have to do everything in their power to make sure these possessions are precious, because you said it earlier, these possessions, they dwindle. Your transition opportunities go down. Some of the things you like to do goes down. The whistles are swallowed just a little bit more. But this team has played through a lot of this type of stuff already, and that's what gives me a lot of confidence that they're going to be ready for this opportunity.
We've all got Pistons across the board.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Who's
Randall's calling us out, too.
Series?
The best coach in this series?
That's a good one.
Oh, that's a... JB Bickerstaff will overtake Tom Thibodeau in this series.
You're thinking like me. I was like, I believe
I've
this
got the
series is
Pistons
going to
winning.
prove that it's JB Bickerstaff.
No, and I got a lot of respect for a Tibbs. He's been damn good in the league for a long time. And with the Bulls, with the Knicks, with the Timberwolves, they've won playoff series. It's just never able to get any team he has over the top. And I think that continues this year. And we all know he has a reputation for wearing his players out.
Man, I can't wait. I'm pumped up. It's cool to see how bullish people are in chat, family. I know we're going to talk more and more about this. Tap in with us, though. Tap in tomorrow. We got a lot of Pistons content and coverage, watch parties, post games. That's going to be on Woodward Sports. So it's going to be a full day, actually, of coverage now, because we also got ringside. We also have wings. We're also going to re-premiere the NBA playoff preview. Hey. We got a lot of stuff going on for tomorrow's content lineup. And Sunday, Lions Weekly Update. So Woodward Sports, man, we're growing. We're trying to make sure that we're bringing more, especially as these sports teams are bringing more.
Absolutely. What do we got left, JB, before we get on over to you for trending?
We got Loom and socials. Chase?
All right, Loom. You already know Loom Cannabis Co., but did you know they've got all of the brands you love now for less, with unbeatable prices and a wider selection and the best loyalty program. Loom is the premier destination for new and experienced shoppers alike. Experience Michigan's #1 recreational dispensary at one of their 38 locations and use code WSN30 for 30% off your entire order. Online or in store, go to www.loom.com today.
And follow us on socials.
Stay connected with Woodward Sports on all social platforms. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, along with YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. For the latest sports news, live updates, and behind-the-scenes action, don't miss out. Hit that follow button now and be a part of Detroit's #1 digital sports network. You guys already know. It's at Woodward Sports everywhere. So we got some more giveaways that are going to be going up there soon, including that K-Slam magazine, the Slam cover poster, and the Slam shirt. Let's rock.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
JB's throwing the camera over to us on the desk. I'm just going to throw the camera right back over to you, man, for everybody's favorite segment. Let's just get right into it. What's trending, man? Let's get sparking word to jars, loom, mad packs. Boom, shakalaka.
Boom, shakalaka.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Silky Smooth himself, the fast JBSmooovv.
Let's rock, man.
Thank you, Chase. Thank you for
Chase Emily.
the loose Chase
You gotta throw the Elliott in there because it's got the there's Chase Elliott, the driver,
yes,
who stole my name, and you know, fun fact, yes, it's named after his father, William Clyde Chase Elliott Jr. But you know, wants to be me so bad, he's got a championship in my name. So,
that's fair.
You know.
That's fair.
That's fair. That is fair. Shout out to the chat family tapping in with us as well too. Got another tough girl in training. This once again shows you that people do not care about your workout. I'm sorry. Nobody does anything. Nothing. They just keep working out.
Bothered, bro. Does he even flinch?
Nothing.
He doesn't even flinch, dog. No hits in my game.
I mean,
that's total flannel energy over there, bro.
The treadmill is a hard thing to just suddenly stop and give help to, because if you do that, then you could hurt yourself too. And why compound one wipeout with two?
That's when you know he's a married man. He didn't flinch. He didn't look. He didn't do anything.
Nope. Not gonna do it.
You don't need to give extra attention that you don't have to any other woman. That's definitely something that I hold to every day. Not that I'm tempted or anything, but it's just my wife's the only one.
What up, Kavasi?
I mean, maybe he's just really committed to his pace goals. You know?
You're a runner.
You know what? That's all. Let me go to the runner.
His pace goals.
You know, it looks sunny. Maybe it's the bright light. He's squinting a little bit. He didn't see. He's got his headphone in.
You recognize that determination, huh?
Yeah, didn't hear that big thud. You know, he's pounding on the treadmill. You know.
He's tapped into his
no,
pace
bro, that's
goals.
flannel at last year's opening day. I'm so serious. It's like Kool-Aid. We're the married guys here, man. We hold it down.
Yeah, married guys. Man. Married guys here once again. I think we got to go right back to the gym, because have you ever sat here and seen someone working out saying, you know what, I could do that too? No, you can't. Yeet.
No,
that is an epic fail once again. Just terrible.
You giving her a TG t-shirt?
I think I have to, just for off of embarrassment alone. I'm sorry. Sorry, girl. Sorry for you.
Hey, at least touch the bar, right? Like that vertical, you're in the gym amongst all these other people, and I get it. We're all at different levels and such. You gotta at least touch the bar.
I wonder
if you're gonna have that vibrato before.
I'm really curious if that's his girlfriend or not, or wife. Because there's nothing worse than a woman that wants to compete with you, like a woman that you're dating or are married to. You're a team. It's not like anything you can do, I can do better. I don't like that energy.
Well,
Mike G said Neil Rule didn't help her up. Dang.
Oh, was that
on the treadmill one? I'm seeing all this Neil in the chat. I was like, what is going on right now?
Is he in?
As
Hey,
Chase said,
shut
he was trying to control his pace. So, you know what? You can't be bothered with stuff like that. It's just me.
Yeah, you don't want to be too fast.
Yo. Oh, my God. All right. Next up, you guys ever been late for work and then the worst thing that could happen to you? A damn train.
Oh. Oh, my God. Is he trying to...
Drive.
No, don't do it.
Oh, is he trying to, like, put the...
He's trying to lift up the train gate so he can drive through.
What?
Oh, my God.
Bro, no.
And he runs back to his car after he thinks he's got...
Go.
Is he going to make it? Oh, my gosh.
This is when you know you're late for work. You just try to make it.
Bro!
If you're going to do that, then go for it.
Come on. Wait, no, I forgot. He's on train tracks. I went from being responsible to like, yo, I want to see him make this.
Yeah.
Just like that.
I mean, you late for work, man. You got to make
I'm
it
glad
somehow.
he actually thought about it. Because I saw Chase. You were in there like, go. Oh. Where's your disappointment at? I mean, you disappointed or are you like, you know what?
He should have gone. You got to go for it. This is not so fun. But like,
risk taker?
I was on my way back to school one day, and we saw a car get hit by a train.
Goodness.
It was pretty insane.
Oh,
It
well,
was-
you're like dead.
Oh yeah, my roommate or like my buddy, he was in the car with me. He's just like, "What are we gonna do?" And I'm like, "Nothing. We can't stop. Like, there's nothing we can do."
Nothing.
And there was a line of us all going back to school. We were like, we got to the cafeteria and we were all just like talking, like, "What the fuck just happened?" And
Goodness.
Yeah.
it was nuts.
That's wild.
That is rough. And finally, I will end what's trending with this because I know you guys, you love McDonald's.
Yeah.
Do you love sushi as well too?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why not combine the both?
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the McDonald's sushi wrap roll.
Nah. Well,
I
mean, it's,
Come on, this is a little bit of genius right here. Like,
Slightly, yes, JB,
Yeah.
but I feel like you got to find out a way to, like, instead of use the seaweed and the rice, you got to somehow use the patty and then use the potatoes. Like, I don't know how that would go with seaweed and rice and then your beef and all that.
Call me crazy, but
I'll try.
I think that looks fantastic.
Do you think he should have left the lettuce on there?
Well, you keep the lettuce on, of course. Wait, did he not have lettuce? Oh yeah, keep the lettuce
on the burger, but he just he didn't let it get into the sushi.
Well, put the lettuce in.
Look at this.
Or maybe on the side.
There's lettuce right there. He was just like, nope. There's one little sprig in there for you, final.
I want it all.
I actually would try this. Now I'm actually getting
Absolutely.
hungry.
See? I would not give this one a go just because it has cheese in it.
Without the cheese, would you try it?
I
'Cause I know you and cheese got real beef.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
I wouldn't want the other sauces and stuff in there. I just want the just ketchup. That's all.
That's fair.
But come on, this is genius. This is fire right here. Like, even I'd try this.
Yeah.
But that's it for what's trending today, guys. Let's hop in the mailbag while we got a little bit of time.
Hey, shout out to our friends at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi as well. We heard from them earlier in the chat. Hey, maybe we'll hear from them right now. Get those mailbag questions into the chat, and we will definitely talk about it.
Feldman Chevrolet of Novi, Detroit's #1 Chevrolet dealer and the Chevrolet dealer of the year for 6 consecutive years. They got deals of the month. You can get a 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew for just $199 a month. You can also get a 2025 Chevy Equinox for like $249 a month. Come see George Hawes and his team at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi.
Hey, and Charles McClain, hashtag Feldman Mailbag. Did Scott Harris improve the bullpen or the rotation more from last year?
I mean,
he's starting off with the
bullpen
heat.
because he got Brebbia and Canely. Everybody else, I mean, Skubal, Job. Well, you know what? Flaherty. It's a tie. It's a tie for second.
And he gets bonus points for Flaherty.
You know, it's rotation based on how the Flaherty thing. I changed my mind on the fly. Give me rotation, but the Brebbia and Canely signings, they're the two best bullpen ERAs right now for the Tigers.
Definitely. You got anything on the Scott Harris? You think he?
I would
improved it
say,
on?
yeah, I'll go with rotation too because I'm going to detract a little bit for Kenta Maeda because he's in the bullpen right now.
The new Javi, right?
I guess if that's what
No, he 100% is. 100%,
Yeah. The Herb Nash, hashtag Feldman Mailbag. If Brad Holmes moves up in the draft, who and what position is he targeting?
I think he's targeting an edge.
We want to say edge, right?
But, like, if you're moving up, what else are you going to do at this point? You're not moving up for a guard, I don't think. You're letting one fall to you. But, I don't know. I've also seen mocks where Gray Zabel and Tyler Booker go before 28. It's like...
Yeah, this draft is one where, you said it best, if he stays at 28, he's going to have his pick at somebody really, really good.
Somebody is going to fall that shouldn't. Somebody's going to fall to where I'm like, Brad, please, and he may or may not do it.
Well, do you think there's any similar trend to last year where I don't think the first defensive pick wasn't until 15 with Leatu Latu at the Colts?
Yeah, that was...
So, like, I don't think that'll happen again, but, you know, we've seen a lot more offense in those, like, skill positions get drafted, at least the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Is that going to continue again maybe this year?
I mean, I'm trying to think, the top of the draft... Got some tackles. You've got McMillan. You've got maybe Sanders and Cam Ward, Ashton Jeanty. Maybe Golden gets overdrafted.
I've been seeing Omari and Hampton sneaking into the first round occasionally.
Yeah. I mean, looking back at last year, Jarrett Verse was a bleeping steal.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Warren, does Colston Loveland go
Tyler
in the
Warren
first
and
round?
Loveland. Yeah, Tyler Warren and Loveland too.
Yeah.
I almost.
I don't know. I mean, that's like, I think good chances of, like, not only getting a good player to fall to us at 28 or somewhere in the 20s, but some of those guys still being available in the second round when we get to 60.
Sure.
And let me, here it is. Dante151, this real last one. # Feldman Mailbag. Everyone, who do you guys have winning tonight in the final playing games between the Heat and the Hawks and the Mavericks and the Grizzlies? The Hawks, are they even alive? Do they still have a pulse? I don't know. Trae Young, is he it? I believe that Tyler Herro and the Heat get the best of the Hawks, and Mavs and Grizz. That's a tough one for me to call, honestly. I've liked a lot of what the Grizzlies have done, and I thought that obviously with losing Luka, the Mavs have lost a lot, but they continue to show a little bit of fighting heart.
I'm gonna go with Heat tonight because I think a lot of what ailed them was the whole Jimmy Butler situation, and you're seeing Hero and Wiggins and Bam Adebayo and Khalil Ware really fitting well together. I think that they beat the Hawks, and I think the Mavs beat the Grizzlies. Ja's questionable. They fired their coach.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something rotten in the water there. And big game for AD tonight, calling for 30 and 15. Although Jaren Jackson Jr. is on the other side. But still, 30 and 15 for AD.
You know what? I got your back on that,
Maybe more
Flannel.
hope than actual analysis.
I got your back on that, Flannel. I think I agree with you with the AD on this one. Give me the Mavs. Like I said, something's wrong. Something's going wrong over there in Memphis. And the Heat and Hawk game is really close, actually, on the spread. It's like -1, and the Hawks are actually favored, which is kind of odd.
Yeah,
because all you have is Trae Young. That is it.
Trae Young is going to have to really show up, man. And like I keep telling you guys, you're talking about those all dysfunction teams. I feel like they underperformed this year. I feel like they underperformed a lot. And if they don't get it done right now, I do wonder what type of conversations are going to go on over the offseason looking ahead for them, because they got some young players that they do believe in. And some of those young players might clash a little bit when you talk about the type of player that Trae Young is, because I like what they're putting together down there. Reese Shea, Dyson Daniels.
Jalen Johnson. He was out for a while. That hurt them for sure. But the Hawks, no matter who's there to support Trae Young, after that Eastern Conference final season, they've just been in play-in purgatory. That's not a place you want to be. The Bulls are there too, by the way. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
But at least they've gotten there finally because they blew it up, though. They got rid of Levine.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
That's a
their
great
situation
point.
is way different. And Modest Buzelis.
Modest Buzelis was a great pick. Oh, yeah, and guys like Kevin Huerter and Zach Collins and Trey Jones were like cast-offs, and they've been balling. Josh Giddey's taking his game to another level. I mean, who knows?
They're passing the Hawks.
Kobe White, best season of his life. Once they got their final roster together after those trades, they were a damn good team. They just pooed the bed in the play-in.
Yep. Yep. But is that a show?
That is a show.
Hey, shout out to the chat family as well, man. They were definitely here and supporting. And smash that like button if you haven't gotten the opportunity to while we break this thing down. We get that chest pass. Oh, man, it's been Wake Up Woodward and chat family. We appreciate you all for kicking off today with the WUW Crew. Hope it's been a great start to your morning. Shout out to our brothers Matthew Broder, that dude Justin, and KG, Detroit's #1 draft pick. Cannot wait to have you back in the studio, brother, on Monday. And actually, we'll be back in the studio tomorrow watching the Detroit Pistons take on the New York Knicks in that first game of the playoff series between the 6-3 matchup. We kick things off over here with the sound booth. We got Cavassier Chase GPT in the building. What up, though, brother?
Hey, what up? Hope you guys have a good weekend. Easter on Sunday, and then it's also 420, and that's my dad's birthday. So happy early birthday to my dad. Hope you have a good one, man. My roommate's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Harlan. Hope you have a good one too, my guy. And I look forward to hanging out with you tomorrow. Hope everyone else enjoys a fun weekend. Hopefully we got something cool to celebrate. As far as like maybe a series lead on Monday morning for the Pistons, and then the draft next week. So I hope you guys have a good weekend, and then keep tapped into Fast and Loose. We got some more stuff coming up for you guys next week.
Hey, let's rock. Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth, JBSmooovv.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tapping in with us on this Friday. A lot of good things happening this weekend. You got the Piston-Knicks series. WrestleMania is also this weekend as well, too. Easter on Sunday, 420. If you celebrate, do it responsibly. I will say that as well, too. Woodward Ringside is dropping tomorrow morning for everyone, getting everyone hyped up for WrestleMania. And Fast and Loose as well is out right now, so go and check that out as well. And let's come back on Monday with, Pistons series lead and some positivity for these Tigers as well.
Definitely. Woodward Sports, vet of the squad, vet of the network, all sports know, Red Wings correspondent. Hey, that's Flannel Sam right there. And that nice Detroit Tigers flannel.
Hey, absolutely. Go Pistons. Hopefully we come back to a 1-0 series lead, and maybe the Tigers take 3 or 4 from the Royals. I think it's very possible. Let's have a fun Monday show.
Hey, let's have a great Monday show. Can you imagine that, man? April and the D is about to be alive and well. This your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter, writer for the network. You guys, hey, have a blessed one, man. It's been Wake Up Woodward.